Okay, I call this meeting of the Devine Independent School District Board of Trustees to order at 6:30 p.m. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Let the record show that trustees Carrie James, Carl Brown, Chris Davis, Henry Moreno, Renee Frida, and Ali Buvenhouse and Nancy Pepper are present. If you would stand with me, please. The flag is over here. Let's say the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would you bow with me, please? Father, thank you for today, and thank you for the blessings of the day. This has been a very busy couple of weeks, and many of us have experienced quite a bit of loss within those few weeks, and we pray that you'll be with our district, be with all the teachers and administrators and people that were friends with Mandy Cross. Please be with their family as they mourn, which they will for some time to come. Help us to reach out to them in any way that we can. We pray that especially that you'll bless us now as we go into this meeting. We pray that you'll help us in the decisions that we have to make, and that all that we do will be in accordance with your will for our school district. Bless us now, we pray, in thy name. Amen. Thank you. Okay. Do we have any citizens communications? All right. Let's move on. We're going to have an elementary campus principals report.
Yay! Did you get the presentation this week?
No, ma'am.
Will you check your email real quick?
I don't have my email.
Oh, okay. I had it on my
If you have it on a thumb drive, we can put it on that TV.
Okay.
Is it in Google? We can hook it up to that. Or we can log her in, right? Maybe.
There's a USB. You want a USB? Your laptop?
Do you have a USB? I can.
I didn't read my email.
I followed Shannon. I followed Shannon to the DSAC just for the record.
We were just talking about that.
You were on time.
I was coming over here, I saw Shannon, I was like, oh, she knows where she's going.
I'll follow her.
I think,
All right. There you go.
Oh, that's Dixie and Blue. Yes, please. And let's come back here so I can see. Okay, so hi everyone, good evening. I'm Maggie Strickland. As you all know, I'm at Ciavarra Elementary, and I don't want to give you on my back, so I'll stand right over here. Go ahead, Mike. So I wanted to start first because I said, well, it starts with us at the elementary school. So really quick, I wanted to share just a little bit about our demographic information. As y'all know, we have pre-K 3-year-olds and pre-K all the way up to second grade. But our pre-K numbers have been a little low. And we just finished having a meeting with Head Start, and they're asking if we can have one or two more enrollment events and stuff. So we said, yes, please, we need as many kids as we want. As we can get. And so our total right now is at 489, give or take. We've been, I think, this will be my third year starting at Ciavarra. So I think it was either the first year that I started, it was in the 520s, 530s, but currently we're holding at 489. And I put a little plus or minus because we do have quite a bit of a mobility rate. 1 minute they'll be saying, oh, we just moved from San Antonio, so we're going to be enrolling here at Devine. And then another minute they'll say they're moving back with mom or dad or whatever it may be, right? So I put a plus or minus. We do have 52.29% male. I know you're probably wondering, how do you get to 0.29? But 47% female students. Ethnicity, as y'all know, Hispanic, 66%. white 34% or 32.4%. And our attendance, I know this is kind of scary, and I know Dr. Grandjean was talking about this. Ever since after COVID, I know that our goal was always 98 point something. But after COVID, it's been kind of hard to get our attendance back up. So right now we're holding steady at 93.15. We are a Title I school, as you all know. Intermediate in Ciavarra is a Title I school. And we have about 46 students that have some form of military connection. And finally, we have about 8 students that are considered are homeless. So what are we doing at Ciavarra this month? Well, a couple of things. As you all know, even in kinder, we start with our beginning of the year assessments. Yes, I did have a mom say, "You're testing children in kinder?" And I said, "Ma'am, when you take them to the doctor, they get tested, their temperature and all these things." So yes, absolutely, we're testing them. We do have our 3 reading interventionists that are going to be working with us and our teachers to make sure that we're looking at our data, and then also maybe finding out where their areas are for them to improve, and then putting them into smaller groups. We are working closely with Region 20, specifically Cindy, and she is working with us and making sure that we are applying all the different pieces for an MTSS. And what is that? It's a multi-tiered system of support. So this year, one thing that we're doing different is we have something called a win time within our master schedule. And why win? Because it's what I need, what each individual student needs. And this is kind of like an intervention time, specifically catered for the students, depending on which objective they are needing more support. And then the win time is set for everyone, from kinder to second. So a couple of things that we've been tweaking at Ciavarra. As you all know, we have started with our new district curriculum, and that is Teach Resource System. But this year they put it under a bigger umbrella called the Texas Curriculum Management Program Cooperative. And one of the things that we had been discussing and having these deeper conversations about is, my goodness, why are so many children coming angry, upset? And you'd be surprised, many of them have been going through some tough times. Many of them have seen some very difficult situations, either it be from dogs dying, or my dog died, and then they really hold on to that, as I do dearly as well. But also when parents separate, and now they're staying with grandma or grandpa or so forth. But anytime that there's any type of change in a family, it definitely gets affected by children. So what we, thanks to Dawn, she helped us get a character curriculum, and it's called Character Strong, and we have it, and Intermediate has it. And it's really neat because they divide it into 3 big themes, and the first one is just to be kind. So teaching students how to be social. And that comes from, hi, good morning, greeting someone and not just passing by them in the mornings, or as you pass by someone, have a great day, or any little social skill that you want children to be able to know how to handle themselves in front of others and family, of course. And how to be strong, how to have executive functioning skills, and finally how to be well. Teaching children that it is okay to cry, but guess what? Like my dad would say, pull up your bootstraps and keep going. And in hopes that that will teach them about grit and keeping on and moving on, and things happen, and it's okay to be angry. Today I had 4 little boys who were having a disagreement outside of the playground, and one of them would say, "Well, he makes me so mad." And I said, "I hear you, I can see that. What do you do when you're angry?" And one of them says, "I punch my pillow." And I said, "Great, that's a great way." So you'd be surprised, like they already have those little coping skills, is what I call. Along with that, we went to Region 20 this year. We went to get CHAMPS training, and pretty much it's just a framework that helps students to know what their expectations are, either in the classroom, in the restroom, in the hallway, or in the cafeteria. And the teacher will go over CHAMPS, stands for conversation. Are you going to be talking to your partner during this activity, or are we going to be silent, or are we going to be working in groups? Help, when you need help, what are some things you can do? It depends. Some raise their hand. Some will say you got to go stand at the star if you need help so the teacher can see you. Activity, is it going to be a group activity? Is it going to be centers? What is it you're going to be working on? Do you get to move? Do you get to participate? And then how we become successful. And what we did do is we posted these CHAMPS posters near the restrooms, inside the classrooms, and in the cafeteria. And it was real funny because we practiced with our kinder students the volume that we wanted in the cafeteria. And I said, okay, we're all going to practice volume 0. And they all put their little bubbles in. Volume 1, can you whisper? And everybody was whispering. And then volume 2, you know you want to talk to your friend and it's okay to talk. And and then volume 3, and they were just so excited about 3 and 4. And they were screaming and shouting. I said, yes, that's 3 and 4, but not for the cafeteria. But they do know exactly what the different levels of volume are. And we are using hall passes, and we're continuing to have them walk about with another student, a buddy. We also started under the Character Strong curriculum, we started our kindness kickoff, and we had many students nominate others for random acts of kindness. And believe it or not, there's a lot of kind students that are displaying just that, where either they hold a door or they help you if you drop something, or you name it. They just want to be able to serve. And it is such a beautiful feeling to say yes, because you want them. I mean, how beautiful would it be if we all just said, oh, I'll help you with this and I'll help you with that. So here's some examples. And we also gave some kindness awards to some of our teachers as well. Going back to that MTSS, they call it multi-tiered because you have your 80% of your students that are learning a TEK. And then you move up this triangle for tier 2 for students who may need a little bit more help. And then the very top you have tier 3, which are students that need the most help, and it probably requires either one-on-one or 2 students to 1 teacher, or whatever that may be. But all of our staff is working on making sure that we're keeping that religious time, which is what we call WIN. And we set goals, we look at how our kids are doing, and depending on the assessments and the data, that's how we know how we're going to be making smaller groups. And I just wanted to say that I really, really enjoyed this last year where we met with the 2 gentlemen from
Region 20 TEA.
Dr. Price and
Galloway.
Yes, and was it Dr. Galloway?
Yes, ma'am.
And they really made us think about what we want our students to look like and what skills they are supposed to have when they graduate. And this really resonates with me because it's a huge responsibility we have in elementary. And I know parents always say, they're just in elementary, they're just in kinder, they have a long way to go. And I tell them, it starts here. Like once you start teaching them how to be an independent learner, how to be a problem solver, how to think for themselves. These kindergartners or even pre-K are so bright, and sometimes I feel like, not parents, but some adults don't give them enough credit. And sometimes the mom will say, did you know he used this word on me? And I said, that's great, we've been talking about that. Well, yeah, but now he's just kind of examining me all the time and blah, blah, blah. I said, but that's a good thing, Mom. So yes, having all these characteristics of being a portrait of what we want our children to be, it starts at Ciavarra, and there should be an alignment from Ciavarra Elementary all the way up to high school. So that concludes our presentation. Mary, did I miss anything?
No, you did it beautifully.
Thank you.
Did you want to introduce I don't think she.
Yes, we have our new assistant principal, Mrs. Mary Joyer, sorry, Mrs. Fremont.
Nice to meet y'all. I am so happy to be here. Love my school, love my family at the school because that's what I consider them. Thank y'all for having me.
You're
welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Next, we'll go into our administrative reports. We'll start with Dr. Grant.
Safety, security, and human resources. As we talked about prior, that we filled all of our major vacancies. Still have a couple. We always have openings for support positions. We're going to have a maintenance, custodial. I think we're full in the bus driver area at the time. Right?
Yes.
She still takes applications to keep them on reserve. Always evaluating positions. School year 2024-25. We're trying to make sure our staffing is correct to meet budget concerns. We've had some good news from people who have some insight to how the legislative situation may turn out, predicting that we will get some money into public education, but obviously it's never enough to do the job that kiddos deserve. So we try to make every dollar last as long and stretch it as far as we possibly can. We had our first meeting for the Guardian program. We've done some initial interviews. Mr. Davis has been in to help us with those. We appreciate that. Schedule for training is being finalized, and the existing Guardians didn't come to the training. It was all for new candidates. As normal, we don't get to actually tell you the turnout in numbers, but we were very pleased. I think everybody's interested in being a part of the program just because they realize how valuable it is to our school. I will say that I got a report from one of the campuses. We get, I don't call them complaints, people let us know of things that they think are missing or haven't happened that we need to take care of. And grandma texted us as we were doing the fencing project at elementary, and did she tell you and you told me? I can't remember who. Somebody let me know that we had just finished the fence and they were finalizing everything, and the grandma called and said, hey, you forgot to put your Guardian signs back up. Like, what makes us feel better when we drop by. And so that was kind of cool. The new, not back to that subject, non-scalable fencing is completed at the elementary and intermediate. We're working on the high school. I think teacher parking lot is pretty well fenced in. They're doing some additions to one of the gates. We've got one other project at the elementary that we didn't finish. If you've been by there today, they're putting up windscreens at y'all's place. So we'll have an 8-foot fence with a black windscreen that doesn't really give you a view into the playground. That's a recommendation that has been going around, has been proven to help, kind of mitigate people from just driving by and taking random shots at the playground. We have a sliding gate that we're going to have entrance into where you would think is the bus circle at the elementary, and then we're going to seal off between the elementary playground fence and the corner of intermediate. We're waiting on those bids. That had to be a separate project from what we were doing with the current fencing project. So when kiddos transition between, it's not a closed-in, perfect, airtight tunnel that we can have, but for people to get into that area, it will be now considered secure by our standards. So kids will be able to transition back and forth from the elementary, until we get a solid, completed plan in place. We have our district vulnerability assessment coming up on November 14th. Next Monday will be our first teacher waiver day that we applied for through TEA. The morning is going to be safety and security updates and information training for the staff. We plan on splitting it up for sure into 3 sections. Mr. Gomez will handle one, I'm going to handle one, and then we've got some principal volunteers that will get through some things. The majority of that safety training is just to revisit drills and protocols. We're trying to develop we have a company coming in that's going to digitally map all the campuses. And the way they're going to digitally map them, they're flying a drone, and the map of, let's say, the intermediate will be broken up into grid sections so that it makes it easier for law enforcement and first responders when they have access to these maps, instead of, we have every single door in the district has its own number, depending on its campus by international fire codes. Y'all are what, B? They're Bs, and you start, go clockwise around the building, just pick one, and then it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that's very beneficial. However, let's say they show up at 13 and then they gotta go around this way. This grid mapping system is just like coordinate system that you would have learned in 8th or 9th grade to read a map. And it'll have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, all the way down one side, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when there's an issue, first responders or the first approach, we'll be able to put also into our live spot system, through the texting that said, hey, go to A4. And they're like, okay, so it's the middle of this building. Then you have the room number. It's just an additional piece to help us in the event of any kind of situation, whether it be, an injured student or ambulance having to report. We're going to explain that piece to our employees during safety and security training. We won't have it finished, but they said they were going to have a pretty quick turnaround, like end of October, I think. They'll have that ready. The other piece, we had our general Monday board meeting with Sledge and those guys. I'll put my notes on here. Basically, we're about 50% done with the design phase. We received our updated design and development plans. We have Sledge reviewing those currently. We have the contractor and the design team turned in their first invoice to us, and we submit all of those to Sledge Engineering. They go through them. Everything looked good. They actually had some feedback to say, hey, can we break these down, make the math look a little bit better, so that whenever you guys get a chance, you'll be able to see them, and it should be easy to read, a little bit more fluid, since we don't all build buildings every day for normal work, because you have a vested interest in being able to show the community that you're good stewards with their money. Let's see. We went to the First Baptist Church annual luncheon. We appreciate everything that they do there. All staff was invited to that. I think it was probably the 23rd or 22nd of August, somewhere in there. Second or third day that we were back, or was it the whole next week?
No, it was the week before.
Yeah.
Okay. That was amazing food. We also, we have received a response to our counter offer with the stairs. We're waiting to see, turn that over to the attorneys. They're working through, the particulars there. I would imagine that they are going to probably want to settle with us quickly.
It's not been too quick.
No, after the second response. Additionally, on our bond recap, we've received a large set, 600 and something pages, was it?
That many?
No, okay, 64. I don't remember, I got a 6 and a 4 in my bag. Schematic design drawings, we'll share those out so everybody can look at them just to see. Just a little bit more detailed than the level of drawings that you have seen before. I think that was it. Unless you have questions on something that we didn't cover.
The plans that you did get in, did they show any rendering of the front of the high school?
Most of these were floor plan drawings, but
I was curious what they're going to do in front.
yeah.
One of the older ones had a rendering.
Yeah.
Yeah, the older one, yeah.
I did them both together. Yes, ma'am, sorry.
Okay. All right, so we'll move on. Next is our Director of Student Services, Don Schneider's report. And special ed's report is head one. Anybody have any reports? Y'all, since numbers are just keep increasing though. All right, the business reports. Ms. Shannon. And moving on to all the principals' reports, I'll just stay on pause. Does anybody have any questions on any of it there? Thank y'all for your reports. And the director's reports. Okay, moving on along then. Moves us to our consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the board meeting, a budget amendment approval, and the district's investment policy, as well as the investment officers and the extracurricular status of the 4-H organization. I think there might have been a change on the budget amendment that you wanted to
Yes, we don't need to add on the second line, increased function 81 expenses for the Head Start building change order of $23,316. We can take that out. We will review that this afternoon with Casey, and that was a change to the contingency, not necessarily to the whole project. So that does not need to happen, just the other buses and a couple of those engineering fees.
That's a good thing.
It is.
To take something off.
So one of
Okay.
the things we noted, it didn't affect any of the not to exceed price for the pre-K building.
Are we finally going to be finished with that
The
building?
Head Start building,
Yes.
said by the end of October.
All right. Okay.
Well, a couple of punch cards.
All right. Okay. I will need a motion on the consent agenda.
Madam President, I move to approve the consent agenda.
All right, I have a motion by Carl and a second by Carrie to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, raise your right hand, please. That passes 7-0. On into the action items. Consider and take possible action to approve the payment to DHMSA Construction in the amount of $55,000 for the asphalt for the Head Start portable.
So this was just a follow-up, one of the projects that we had to add towards the end, and it incorporated the portion, if you drive by the pre-K, there's a road that goes behind the pre-K, they call it a hammerhead turnaround, so that we had to add that so that emergency services can pull in there in case of fire or whatever, pull back out. That could have been site road-based type situation, but based on, the need to do it right and make it look good and make it last, we chose to go with asphalt instead. And this is also in the not to exceed price.
Okay, so that's not what it's, we don't know for sure what it's going to cost,
No,
but
this
not
is
more
the
than
actual
50.
payment.
Yes,
It's over
this is to
50.
pay.
This is the actual.
And since it's over 50,000.
It was for the invoice.
All right, okay. Does anybody have any questions on that before we make a motion? Okay, can I have a motion, please?
Madam President, I move to approve the payment to DHMSA Construction in the amount of $55,000 for the asphalt for Head Start portable.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Carl and a second by Henry. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Next, we have consider and take possible action to approve calling for bus bids and to authorize the superintendent to commit the purchase requisition for 2 buses.
So this might be the best explanation I'll ever give you, and I'll turn it over to.
It's fine.
Great. You can explain it, just let me correct you. I'm sorry. Basically, we're asking for 2 buses. One's a regular 77 passenger. Should be around 152,000. The other's a 77 passenger with a lift, which should be around 159,000. The only reason there's a $7,000 difference between the 2 buses is last year, when I was trying to get quotes to see what we were gonna get last year, they quoted they had told us the prices were going up in January, so when they quoted for the bus with the lift, they quoted it 159. And so when I was snooping again, to see. He came back and said it was around that again, and I said, excuse me, I don't, this is way too cheap. And he said, no, that's the price we gave you because the prices have gone up in January. To where that's why there's about a $15,000 difference between what we paid last year for buses versus what we're gonna pay for the regular 77 passenger this year. And then the grant's gonna cover 87,822 per bus. So the district's only gonna have to pay approximately $135,000 for both buses this year.
We talked about all this in the budget too, so.
It's less than buy one, get one free.
Pretty much, well, okay, it was $311,000. It's gonna end up costing, so yeah, it's a little better than that.
Because if they're $152,000 a piece.
Yeah. So,
You want to explain a little bit of like, there's also a strategy to purchasing buses because we have two that are left on our grant, correct?
we have
Not
four,
these two.
okay, we have 4 total for the grant. We need to buy 2 this year and 2 next year. If we choose to go ahead and get the 77 with the lift, it's a year out build from the day we tell them till we take possession. So if we can authorize it, even though we're not gonna pay for it till after July of 2025, we could still buy the 2 regular 77s this year, and then it would only be the 77 with a lift and another 77 next year. If I didn't just totally confuse y'all.
Because if we don't give them the list, then we get moved to the bottom of the list. And then they could go up to about 100.
Well, like I said, there's usually about a $25,000 difference between a bus with a lift and just a regular bus. So right now, we're only looking at $7,000 difference.
And when folks have buses on the ground and we commit a PO, then we get moved further up the list than somebody who's still waiting. And so.
Correct.
And then after these 2, we don't know that we don't have any more buses because you've gone through the whole fleet and all together, counting these 4 all together, how many buses will we have gotten through the grant?
Through the grant, it would be 9 buses.
Wow.
And they're basically half price or less.
Right.
So she has taken everything and
After this, unless they change the year models, we're not gonna be, they actually expanded the grant, but we're out of buses. And we don't have any buses old enough now to go after that grant right
so we
now.
got that's like 84, 111, 72.
71 and 72, so two 207s, 108, and then a 2011 or 2014, and they jumped to 2017s.
So I don't know if I ever told you, if you wanted to know a secret, if you look at the bus numbers.
Actually, the bus number starts with the year model that.
Yeah, and then the number, so if it's 111, so it's a 2011, but the first bus we got then. So if it was 112, it was a 2011 second bus we got there.
And then the last number is how many we actually bought.
Because now we got 242.
We have up to 244, so that means we bought 4 buses last year.
And it helps keep track when you're trying to monitor what needs to be cycled out. But like 72 is amazing, runs good. Right?
Yeah, 71 and 72 are good.
All right.
Well, I'm gonna ask a stupid question, but the 77 passenger bus with a lift, how many students that we have that actually need a lift bus?
Actually, right now, we do not have any on a bus right now that are requiring a lift, but both of our special needs buses, or our newest special needs bus is 10 years old. So it's kind of like, my reasoning was if we were going to have to spend that money to buy another special needs bus, why not get a full-size one? That way, if we have, example, somebody in the band who wants to throw a fit because they're being singled out putting on a little bus, the whole band can ride with them on the big bus.
Yeah, I think it's good. I just wondered how many we actually have.
Actually, right now, like I said, we don't have anybody requiring a lift right now.
That's good. All right, thank you. Okay, anybody want to make that motion, please?
Move to approve calling for bus bids and to authorize the superintendent to commit to purchase requisition for 2 buses not to exceed $159,000 per unit upon return of bids.
Second.
I have a motion by Chris and a second by Carl. All in favor, raise your right hand, please. Okay, thank you. Next, consider and take possible action to adopt the resolution regarding the Texas Education Code Section 37.0810.
We actually have this in place right now, but what we would like to do is make a point of just passing this resolution again every year. This is a resolution that states that based on Texas Education Code, we have to have a police officer on every single campus. By doing that, you're probably looking at $75,000 for each that we would not be able to afford. But by having the guardians, in the program, somewhere between 1 and 300 people in our district are armed, we have the ability to cover that requirement, but it has to be through board resolution anyway. And by doing that every year, the new reporting guidelines that TEA has, it just makes us feel better that we import that to them and show them that we're taking notice of the education code and required adjustments, and that we pass the resolution every year.
I have a motion on that one, please.
Madam President, I move to adopt the resolution regarding the board's compliance with Texas Education Code 37.0814 to establish a good cause exception and alternative standards and attach said resolution to the minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Henry and a second by Carl. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, thank you. Moving on along. Consider and take possible action to approve the board operate procedures. You want to say anything about that?
Other than,
I think you've all seen that several times. Yes, do you have a question?
Can we change under member conduct during board meetings? Paragraph 2, it says superintendent will ensure that the agenda packets are distributed to board members at least 3 days before scheduling board meetings. Can we change that to at least 3 business days? That would at least give us some time besides getting it on Friday, allowing us time to look over it, and then not having to contact Mr. Grandjean on Monday, scrambling to get answers before our meeting. If we got it 3 business days, that'd be Wednesday. That'd give us Thursday, Friday, and Monday to discuss and find out clarifications or questions that we have. I don't think that's unreasonable to move it out to make that business days.
I know that Jerry has tried to get that before some of it. She can usually get principals and directors' reports and things. Some
Well,
of the other things.
it's either 1 day or 2 days earlier, so I don't see how it's that much different. And all we gotta do is have Mr. Grandjean hold them accountable to do that. And that allows us time to be able to look through everything when there's a lot of stuff on the agenda rather than having to rush through it and actually mill over it and
Right,
have ample time.
and the agenda has to be posted by Thursday.
On Friday.
On Friday. So we try to get it done by Thursday. So there may be things in the packet that are added, I guess I want to say. But I can see what you're saying. I don't think
Yeah,
there's
I don't think it's
any
unreasonable. People have 3 weeks, 4 weeks to get it done. Just to ask for 2 additional days is not unreasonable to allow us 2 days to go over it. Yes, sir.
The thing I would say to that is sometimes we're waiting on particular data,
Then go on the next report.
and it would be late.
It's all data regardless of how you look at it. It's either 3 weeks late or, next time it'll be 4 weeks and 1 day late.
Sometimes it just makes our reports make more sense. We're able to stay.
It's really hard, at least for me, to get this at some point on Friday and just have the weekend and Mondays and 1 business day to scramble with Todd to get answers. I'd like to see it changed if at all possible. It's not unreasonable in my opinion.
I know for myself, one of the things I would appreciate too is feedback on our reports, to know that you understand what we're writing on our reports and putting on it.
That might be a little bit more easy if we have more than 1 day to go over it.
I look forward to it.
So I say to move
How
it.
do you balance both of those things? Because I agree with you. I think Jerry does a really good job of trying to get us as much as she can.
Absolutely.
Obviously, there's going to be situations where you're like, all right, it's posted, but something just came up, thank God there's already a meeting posted, or we'd have to have a special meeting. Just don't want to get in a situation where our actual board operating procedures prevent us from being able to cover something in regular session, that we end up having to have a special session. You know what I mean? Like if they had just learned something on Friday, our rules require that they provide it to us by Wednesday, then she wouldn't be able to discuss it today, and we would
But
be
they have to
talking
have it
about.
posted by Thursday.
Right.
Friday. They have to post the agenda by Friday.
Yeah, so if it's on the agenda, that, I mean.
No, but you see what I'm saying? Friday, she has all the way until Friday to add something to the agenda. So I think if we asked that be the expectation with the discretion with the superintendent's authority, that if something's added late to the agenda, that it would just be supplemented.
Well, sure, I just mean,
Yeah.
that would be easy to go over, but when you get the whole packet on Friday, it's difficult. But there's always gonna be an exception, but there's no reason that you can't have it
So
on
would it
Wednesday as
be,
opposed to Friday.
would it be okay to say we could come up with a list of some things that we say like, all of this will be in there by Wednesday, being an emergency?
I mean, if you
Text you and say, hey, Shannon had to change the.
Yeah, I like the good faith effort, because I agree with him and with Chris in the idea that most of it you guys know, right? And so everything that you can reasonably give us to it by Wednesday, knowing that you're truly going to put the good faith effort. And then if you have to supplement it, you have to supplement it when it's posted. Because at least by the time it's posted, it's final. But if anything's coming up between our Wednesday and when they're posting on Friday, but if it becomes, you know, if it's exceedingly so, the number of things that are the exception, then we can call that back into question, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
just hard, for me personally, it's hard, you know,
I
to
agree
get it
with
all read through, juggling with the job, and then doing this, and then whenever I do have questions, trying to hit up Mr. Grandjean on Monday, like, hey, what are the answers to these questions? And you have 3 hours to figure it out. I don't think that's.
Because the wording, we could say it could be two different things, not that, so it could be uploaded, but not posted till Friday.
Right, I can wait to post it.
Right, does that make sense? That's kind of what I was trying to say. It could be
That's a good way to
uploaded, but
say it.
not posted, because we had,
Something you have to add.
unfortunately, it's always her department, not by lack of her effort.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I mean, a budget amendment posted, I mean, it takes you 3 minutes to look at and understand or not understand and give a call. But a lot of the other stuff that we look at, it's not as simple as, oh, we need a budget $155,000 for asphalt. That's pretty straightforward and easy to go over. It's the other stuff. And it doesn't happen very often that we hammer you on Mondays, but it happens.
Do you want to say how we would change the wording on that?
It's for the business days.
A good faith effort to provide
All available.
all available documentation by 3 days, 3 business days prior to the meeting. I'm looking for, I'm sorry, which?
It's under member conduct during board meetings.
Maybe you have to say that different, because if he only has to have a good faith effort to provide what's available, a good faith effort to make all resources available 3 business days in advance, because then the exceptions are still
I
out
would say
there.
just add business days and let it be at Mr. Grandjean's discretion of, you know, holding everybody to get it in, but if something comes up and he's okay with it, that's fine. But if they're just not getting it in, then he can handle that as well. I mean, that's,
So you just want to say 3 business days instead of just the 3 days?
I think there's another place, can't remember exactly where it says that all materials are due, or changes to the agenda are due by Wednesday. So we might need to change that as well, if you guys want to have it.
I think you're right. I saw that I went back to try to find it. I didn't see it again.
So do we need to
So if you
table
wanna-
this to make the changes?
If you want
and-
to wait and talk about this, and we can bring it back next meeting.
Okay.
If you want.
Would that be best, so we get the change in
Yeah, that way we
all
can
of the
make
areas?
make it all match and coincide with each other.
Okay. So you want to table that till the next meeting then?
Need a motion? Doesn't matter.
You don't have to.
Or just no action?
I think I can just say we'll table it.
Okay.
No action.
Okay. All right, we have completed record business, so we need to go into closed session now. Board of Trustees begin at 7:15, guys. We'll convene in closed session first with the Texas Subdivisions Act for the purpose of discussing items listed under Texas Government Code, Chapter 551.074, 551.076, and 551.082. No final actions, decisions, or votes will be taken while the board is in executive session. Thank y'all. Did you like this a little closer area this time instead of being in the big DSAC? If we know we're gonna have a crowd of people come, then we'll probably be in the DSAC again.
The DLA graduation fights.
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for coming. Appreciate you.
You know,